Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 46 of the Tait Talks Podcast. I'm the host, Tate Middleton. Today we have recurring guest, Luke Joseph Ryan.
Hello.
You're still here.
Yeah,
We're
brother.
in your house. I can see your rabbit has trapped itself.
Yeah. She's cute.
You're very cute. Just a recap of the last episode. You were working for Nickelodeon. You'd done 3-4 years for
That's
Camp Orange, was
about
it?
6. Well, maybe 5, but I think we're on the channel for 6 years. I think it was 6 years we're on the channel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So comedy duo from Perth,
Mm-hmm.
both at Whopper,
Mm-hmm.
went over to the East Coast. We're living in Melbourne, flying up to Sydney to do those shows. We went through the ins and outs of everything, how you got involved, management, pay, all that type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And now we were just at the award show.
Mm-hmm.
You had won 1 or 2?
We won, I think, when was that? I don't even fucking know when that was in the timeline. That was somewhere in there. Maybe that was 2012, 2011, 2012. We won Most Outstanding Presenters, and we beat Rove McManus. In your face.
Yeah. Rove.
Yeah. So it wasn't even a newcomers award. It was just for the best ones.
Yeah, and you got him.
Yeah.
You guys are the best.
Eddie Maguire shat on us, I remember. He tried to sort of make some gag about us when we were on stage. Anyway, we were dipshits, to be fair. Like,
Yeah. How old are you then?
Then,
Yeah, you won the award. Were you like, we are fucking heading to the top?
we never... I think in some ways that was maybe what stopped us from... We were sort of ambitious, but we were more interested in playing the room we were in than thinking about where we could get to.
Yeah.
And so it was interesting because that was just such a rush that even that night that we won the award that we were just riding it.
Yeah.
It's the danger, I think, that a lot of comics have, that you need to have an eye on the end game.
Yeah.
And I think that because we were comics first before that, we were always about the affirmation
Okay.
and killing that night. And so even just the night of winning the award and going around being the heroes of the night, we were like, we did it. We weren't like, well, now we'll try and break into this network Yeah.
Did it open any doors, though? Was like your management or whoever like, hey, with this award now that you guys have shown that you're actually a bit of hot property type thing that you can put it on your CV type thing and be like, hey, we're going to pitch some ideas to Nickelodeon or whoever it may be, and we were the not the newcomers, the best fucking whatever it was.
Presenters, yeah, maybe I think it did. I don't know, like it's... We were pitching stuff around. I don't know, man. Maybe it opened doors. I'm not sure with that award, whether it did or not. There was a definitive arc that occurred, definitely, I feel like, in terms of us being... It's fascinating how the industry works when you're hot, when you're interesting, and you're the next big thing, and when you've been around a little while, and it's like, what are they doing? And I think there was a definitive sort of feeling of we were on our way.
Yeah.
And then we were just kind of still on Nick, and it was like, well, we don't know what we're doing, and da-da-da. And then so it sort of just played itself out. Yeah. Did
you enjoy the industry? Like, is it as heartless as it looks? You know, one minute you're the bee's knees, and the next minute you're not.
I think it's very much... You need to be making cool shit and doing interesting shit, because everyone's very busy. I think I like the ruthlessness of it in some ways.
Yeah.
That it's like, do interesting shit, otherwise why would we pay attention to you? Because everyone's out here trying to do interesting shit. So I do like that at some level. But I also... The reason when I went back to live, I got so obsessed with live so much, is people would win and lose on the night, and there was honesty and it was real. This rabbit's gone fucking schizo.
Yeah. You don't hear schizo enough these days.
Yeah, right? Yeah, it's not okay. Yeah.
Wait, it's not okay?
Well, it's short for schizophrenic, I guess, which is probably bad, I would imagine now, to say schizo, right?
I have no idea. I mean,
presume it's bad.
I'm bringing it back.
To just call people schizophrenic casually. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm all for it.
That's a mouthful. I mean, schizo part. It's going fucking skits.
Skits, bro. He's going skits. Hyper's probably better.
Yeah.
But Yeah, I think that the thing I don't miss about it is it was a lot of bullshit as well.
Was it PC and shit back then, or is it?
Oh, it was more the...
It'd be interesting if you had to do the show now, how it would be like, we need a Korean kid, we need...
diversity casting, probably. I suppose so.
100%.
Well, look. To be honest, man, like even in terms of who we were,
Two white dudes.
We were two straight young white guys who were charming and good looking, and then it was like
arrogant. No.
Yeah. Well,
no.
Notice I said were. I did say were. So we were very palatable commercially, which is. But I mean, Australian TV hasn't really changed that much, man. Like in terms of the UK is way ahead of that game in terms of diversity. Like, look at most shows over here. Still, it's pretty white. But I feel like the thing that I don't miss, that what I really liked about Live and why I went so hard into it is that you either were very good that night and everyone was like, man, that was sick. Or you sucked and people moved away from you like you were a bomb.
COVID.
Like you had fucking the virus. And there was so much bullshit in TV that were people hustling and lying and getting their way that I think that's the bit I don't miss,
So you reckon it made you work not as hard when people were telling you were awesome?
Yeah,
or are you conscious of it?
I think that especially when you're the talent. No, I think it's different when you're a producer or a writer.
So weird just being the talent.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's that's odd. Like what you just said.
Yeah.
And you were. That was your job. You guys were the face, the hosts. Hey, when is fucking Wyatt getting here?
Yeah.
Where's Luke?
You need to be that. The talent needs to be happy. The talent always needs to be happy, and as a consequence of that, they don't often get told the things they should get told.
Yep.
In terms of evolving, you've had a thought.
I did, but I think I really wanted to. I was thinking about appearance, right? Did you have to, in your time of being on the show, for continuity and stuff like that? Were they like, don't grow a fucking beard, don't get fat?
I had to shave. I never got to have a beard. It killed me. I never had any facial hair in all the years I was on.
I saw the pictures today.
Yeah, they wouldn't let me.
And I'm like, that's not fucking Luke. You look like a different person.
I know, man. Yeah. I know.
Your hair's all like...
I was really.
Gelled up and shit. Yeah.
I used to spend like $250 on facial products a month. Like I would, like Clarins, like fucking, tomatoes from France in a bottle, like fermented and... Yeah, I was all about that life. And
now you just got a rabbit. Just fucking
got a rabbit and
legs crossed on the couch on my podcast. Living the dream,
man.
Yeah.
The heady highs. But yeah. So what was the question? Where were we? Sorry, I lost track.
Appearance.
Oh yes, yeah.
I'm really intrigued by that because
they definitely had their opinions. They didn't force us any particular way. They didn't want me to have a beard. They were against the beard. They made me shave. The hair I did wild shit with. That was my own stupid decision to have it in a giant, absurd... I looked like Jedward. I looked like...
You do, yeah.
It was so dumb, man. It was terrifying, really. I don't know what the fuck I was doing, but
you're 7'3" anyway.
I'm very tall.
And your hair in that is...
It was another meter on top.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It was so weird. It was a terrible look. I don't know what I was doing, but yeah, so they kind of let us do what we want at that level. But you were always kind of more obsessed with appearance because, you're on screen. So you wanted to fucking look good. And
the thing, I guess, about that is, I think we touched about on the first episode that you obviously, the niche is for children, right? So your friends never get to see you, or your family really never gets to, hey, I saw you on the TV the other day, you're looking good. It's like, what the fuck were you watching that show for? You weirdo.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So was that strange that, or you were such a big, you were the face of a show, such like a big figure, but then other, let's say adults probably wouldn't have come at you unless they were parents?
Yeah. It was kids who were obsessed with us, and they would all, that was, the biggest thing was I had to watch what I said and did in public. I remember I was doing some terrible obscene act out of some fucking disgusting sex act
Okay.
in a supermarket once, and a child walked past, like, you know, just going like I was sucking a bunch of dicks or something.
Yeah.
And a child walked past and spotted me, and I had to like pretend they were fucking maracas or something. I had to try and fool, but like there was definitely a sense of accountability publicly, because there were quite a few kids who knew us.
So was that a weird thing when you're walking down the street and kids are like,
Yeah, I
did you ever like? Was it Luke on the show, or was it?
We were Luke and Wyatt. Yeah, that was the name of the duo.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I always kind of liked it. I always kind of thought it was cute. It was never excessive.
Yeah,
There wasn't enough of popularity for that, and I didn't mind that people. It was just a good ride. Like I never minded that. I didn't really want people to, you know, because it's a whole nother fucking thing, man. And that's the thing. Speak of Rove, like it's like. We used to hang out with him back in the day when we were doing stuff.
So Rove?
Rove, yeah.
Yeah.
And he like, and I mean, it's probably a bit different now, but maybe not. But when you're that level, like, you just can't go places.
Yeah.
And that's fucking terrible. Like he was so awkward whenever we would hang out in public. He loved being in America. We hung out with him in America because no one knew who the fuck he was over there, and so that was a boon for him. Yeah, it's a whole. I don't think like recognition at that level is necessarily desirable.
Yeah.
To have your life being functioning.
Yeah. I was just curious to be like, it's not. I mean, my brain goes towards like, no, I want to use this for evil. Like, I want to, to girls to be like, hey, fuck's this guy? Like, I'm on a TV show. Kids want to know, like, okay, champ.
I mean,
You know?
I loved the. Like I said, it's that comic thing. Like, I think we both love the after parties for the Slime Fest and the big events. And, you know, we love being the kings, man. Like, we're the kings of the night. So, yeah, we lived for that shit.
Yeah. So that was the fun ones when you do that.
Yeah, that was a
slime
vibe.
rides,
Huge.
yeah.
And they were the perfect thing for us, really, because there were people hosting those things who were just TV hosts, but we came from years of live anyway. So then you put us in these big live environments. We met the energy and delivered at such a level. So, yeah, that was sick.
So when you say live, you're talking about stand-up?
Yeah, so, because we were doing the duo stuff before then, yeah. So then when we were doing these live events for kids, yeah.
So you did, obviously, Camp Orange and stuff like that, and then when did the duo finish? Was that after you finished up?
Essentially when we finished in Nickelodeon. Like, we kind of...
Really?
So during the years of doing Nickelodeon in the last few years, we kind of stopped live gigging together because it was sort of too much.
Yeah.
On top of everything, and then
you said the radio show as well.
Yeah, and then the radio stopped because we were still essentially a development show, and then a new program director came in, and when a new program director comes in, they clean house, and so they get rid of all the development shows, and that kind of sucked because we'd always been in the wings. Like, we were always like doing the survey breaks, and then we did a couple of national runs, but we were like essentially training to become a breakfast show somewhere.
Yeah.
And then that never happened, so we got booted, which sucked. And then we just didn't hustle, really, I think. I think it had been... Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, so then when Nickelodeon were like... That was one of the nicest exits I've ever had from any employer in my life.
Yeah.
Like, because when we finished Nova, like, we got a call like that morning being like, hey, your access card's not going to work. Don't come in. Like, it was essentially
Really?
like, yeah, you're done.
Nova.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Nova
man.
100.
Yeah.
It was fucking
they did
scum.
Yeah.
Bad.
But it was just like, it's over. It's over. See ya. Bye. We changed the locks. But Nickelodeon...
Do you have a contract?
No. See, so many of these things, it's like... I don't know what it's like now again, but at the time it was always like, we think you're great. My God, you got talent, kids. We'll give you this much a show, and then we'll keep you going because we're getting you ready, but you wait, it's coming. Like, and then the contract will come, da-da-da. So they keep you going on that, and you're like, holy shit, we're on commercial radio. Like,
see, that's when people would have, like, your friends and stuff would have.
Yeah, they loved
heard
that.
You on the radio.
Yeah. People heard us on Nova. That was sick.
Yeah.
But so that ended abruptly, and then, but yeah, Nickelodeon by comparison were like so lovely. They were like, listen, boys, we love you, but you're getting on. It's been 5 years or whatever, 6 years
Was
and
that
stuff.
really? It was an age thing.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, like, it's kids' TV, man. You're like, they needed fresh. And I think the network wanted a bit of and I get it. It's a long time. It's a long tenure, really, in a role like that. And so they were like, we think we're going to go a different way. And it might have been, who knows? It could have been a multitude of things. I think it was probably a mistake to put us on salary for them.
Okay.
For us, it was sick, but they didn't use us that much. And so we were like doing a voiceover a week here, and then you'd have another couple of weeks and fuck all. And I loved it because
So let's run us through the salary. So you got 52 weeks in a year.
Yeah.
How much actual work are you doing?
There was spurts, so you do like maybe like maybe in 1 month you do a week solid of huge days, and then the next month maybe you do like a day a week here and there. Maybe you go a week or two without anything, and then again in a month from that you'd have a week of being slammed for 5 days, and so it was really sporadic. And the concept being that you remained available, and they will
any time.
Yeah, and if they needed you, so it became contentious as well because I did a play or some shit, or White Wind did something if you became busy or. But yeah, it was so lovely when they got rid of us. They were like, listen, it's probably time. And we were like, that's so fair. And then they were like, we'll pay you out for 6 months. And we were like, amazing.
You're like, that's so fair.
Yeah. And then the parting thing they got us to do, which was sick as well. They let us make a bunch of our own. They gave us a budget, which we'd always wanted, to make a bunch of our own digital content that we wrote, filmed and directed. And one of those blew up. We made a video about dad joke survivors, which got like 14 million views or some shit, and like Time magazine wrote about it and all this stuff. So that was sick, and that was on the way out. But yeah, then I think
kid friendly or not?
Yeah, kid friendly. Yeah. But I think then we just did. It wasn't a discussion. It was never a discussion like, hey, we're going to stop working together. But it was just this feeling, I think, of us both wanting space, and then we just sort of stopped working together.
Is he stand up now?
No, he is very smart in that he went into TV producing, and he is gainfully employed.
Okay,
he's crushing it because there's much more work in doing that. He's working for a documentary company over here at the moment. Going out and doing work for them in the bush. So yeah, he's done heaps of stuff. He produced for The Project and Tonightly and a bunch of different shows around the place. So yeah, he's doing very well at that. Whereas this fucker over here was like, I'm still the guy. Terrible idea.
I'll bring it home.
Yeah.
I just want to go into radio for a second. Did that come off Nickelodeon?
That came off management, getting that for us. So when they booked us and they were like, you're the hot ticket, they were like, we'll get you a trial show on Nova. And so they got a meeting with us with the PD, with the program director, where he was like, come up with a page of ideas. And we went away and came up with real dumb shit. And I think it was the real dumb shit that he liked, like just real stupid stuff that we wanted to play games like What Hat Am I Wearing, like on radio, just like just very intentionally absurd, subversive kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then he was like, you're funny, or whatever. You got it, kid. And then they were like, you can have a trial show from there. And so they would give us like, that was started. It was just local in Melbourne. It was probably like Saturday mornings or something, probably like 10 till 12 or some shit, or 9 till 12 in the morning. Yeah. And
so you would just rock up there with some ideas, and
we would have a planning day. So we would do like one day during the week they had an up and coming producer they would put with us. So it was also a trial for her or him, and they would come in, and so we'd spend like half a day where we'd bang around heaps of ideas, and then we would do the show on the weekend. Yeah.
So you were doing stand up then, radio, TV.
Yeah.
You're very busy.
We were very busy at the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very busy.
So I suppose that's why, as you're saying, like it was a lot of time being together.
Yeah, and it was a lot of time trying to make everything be the best thing ever together.
Yeah.
There's a lot of time going everything because we were still in the making it phase. And it was like everything has to execute. And the danger of radio also is that what happens is you drag your relationship on air. Yeah. And so everything is content.
I suppose that's what Hamish and Andy are so big.
Yeah.
Because they literally know each other inside and out. And every little story, detail, blah, 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 is out in the
They're
open.
also very smart, though, in that a lot of their stuff is about games, is about playing games with each other or with the audience. It's not necessarily like, my girlfriend found me doing this, let's call her up and confront her. Yeah. It's never been it seems like they're not super personal in that sense. They have a bit of privacy, I think. Yeah. Whereas they really push you to be like, what's that? She broke up with you this morning. Let's talk about it on air. They're like, it's pretty terrible,
Really?
man. Yeah, maybe might be an exaggeration, but they definitely kind of push you to go, personal is the best. We want the
It's
shit.
relatable though.
Yeah, exactly.
People love gossip. Like
They love it.
I
Vulnerability, yeah.
Yeah, and my brain is still fucking melts when I see those gossip magazines.
Yes.
And it's just like pure fake shit on the front. It's just like Prince Harry caught with a fucking koala, and you're like, what?
Yes.
This is ridiculous.
Yes.
And then you buy it. You know, like it's that,
Yes.
and they do rely on that type of shit. So obviously hearing that on the radio.
Yeah, they
like,
love
"Ooh,
that. And
what?
that's
He broke up with his missus?
yeah. With it, yeah, that's the thing.
What happened?
Yeah, totally. Then they want to hear about her. Yeah, it's a weird thing, and so I think when that is happening, it sort of puts extra stress on a relationship, because then you're kind of trying to play into the tension of the dynamic between you.
Yes.
And you're amping that up, and so yeah, it was a lot, man. We did, you know what? I never realized until friends told me after the fact. It's a lot like when you break up with someone, and once you break up with them, they were like, yeah, you fought all the time. Like at the time, they're supportive, you know what I mean? Because they're like, well, they're doing it. But we really didn't get along a lot of the time. We had big explosive fights. And I never I was just like, well, that's how it is.
So you just, that's just a normal.
That's what it is. That's what working with someone is. But, you know, we are very, very different people. And
that's why you hate him.
and that's why I hate him. Great. No, I don't.
Finishing the podcast there.
You bastard.
Well, it does make a lot of sense that you guys finished up. I just wanted to. You said you did the Camp Orange stuff. What was the other 2 seasons?
So in
that you did?
So what happened was I was banging around just doing fucking open mic rooms and booked rooms as well, and just all over the place in the Sydney.
Yeah. So this is comedy.
Yeah. So this is from like 2015 to early 2018.
Yeah.
And I was also doing the festival run. I was doing solo shows. Mainly, I think I did Comedy Festival 1 year, and then I did like Adelaide Fringe. It came at the most interesting time, the opportunity. So I was fucking doing. I was losing my mind in Adelaide. I did this show which got like panned. It got a 2-star review, and that's what broke me. And and I just went crazy, man. Like I remember throwing in the lamest way, by the way. I think my version of going crazy was I read the review while I was in the shops. I left, you know, in like when there's like a cyclone or whatever hits a city and everyone just leaves their shopping trolleys or whatever, or it's a zombie outbreak. I left my shopping basket full of shopping. I walked home to the Airbnb, and then I threw a little line around the backyard and knocked some bins over and had a tanty. And I got real fucked up. I've been sober for a long time, so I broke it. I had this huge wig out, and I was like, I'm going to quit comedy. I'm going to move back to Gero, do manual labour. I'm fucking done. I'm done. And then out of that, I got a warm-up gig, which took me back to Sydney for really good money. And then
Can you explain the warm-up gigs? Because I don't think we've got.
Oh yeah, we haven't talked about it. That was not on the pod. That was in Chatland.
Yes.
So yeah, TV warm-up. So I was the guy for a lot of different shows who would, in between takes, keep the audience energy up, keep them laughing, keep them engaged. Mm-hmm. So as soon as they hit the camera roll, they can deliver a Pentecostal level of ecstasy for whatever terrible show that they're watching.
And which ones did you work on?
A lot. I don't mind. Ninja Warrior, fucking Australia's Got Talent, X Factor.
That's weird doing Australia's Got Talent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they're watching all these acts and then you're out there doing
that was fun.
Bullshit.
That was a real fun one because the setup of the audience was in a sick theatre. So it was like 900 people in like a wild... Yeah, so it was just... The nights where it was the best was just a sick gig. You were just playing like a 900-seat theatre for a long time, full of really ratty families. But when you were on one, it was amazing. When it was terrible. But it was... But yeah, so what happened was I got this fucking warm-up gig and I went back to Sydney and then literally through a dude who knew me, this real weird old dude, Marty Morgan. He's this cool old guy who's a carpenter and he like draws a mustache on and he does prop gags and puns and stuff. And he like was like, oh, my mate's running some computer games company or something. And I said, you might be good to host this thing. And I was like, sure you did, Marty Morgan, you weirdo. No worries. And then I went and did the audition with this whole attitude of like, what the fuck is this going to be? And then I got the gig, and when they offered it to me, they like gave me a contract with a fee on it. And I was like, oh, this is a fucking thing.
A real thing, yeah.
Like, this is a thing. This is like a televised esports league that I'm going to host. Right.
What year was this?
This was 2018.
Okay, so not too long.
Yeah, so I got that, and then I did a season of that. And then these people from a production company who knew me from the Foxtel days rang... because they were casting, they were trying to find hosts for this National Geographic doco they were doing.
Yes.
And it was convenient timing because they were like, can you show us something you've done recently? And I was like, haha, I'm hosting an esports show. This is what I do now. As opposed to they knew me from Kids TV days.
Yes, yeah.
And so then they gave me the gig based on that.
So this is the doco?
Yeah, this was a doco, yeah. So it was called Only in Oz, Only in Australia. And me and two other presenters, we travelled all around Australia and did various stories about various animal species, extinction.
Really? That's awesome.
Yeah, we went on like paleontological digs and all this kind of wild shit.
Are you an animal man? I know you got a rabbit.
I love them. I'm not someone who was previously like very knowledgeable about them or anything, but like it was very exciting. It was never on my radar as a life goal to work for National Geographic, but like it was a sick gig to do.
Yeah. How long did you film that for?
That was on and off for maybe 7 months, 8 months. So that was a thing where like, I think I did like 10 or 15 stories for them. So that was a thing where like, they'd give me a heads up a couple of weeks before. They'd be like, you're free at this time. And then, they'd fly me down to Tassie or whatever. And then we'll be there for 4 or 5 days.
Did you go to every state?
Yeah, I think so. I went to the desert in South Australia. I went to Kakadu, Northern Territory, Darwin, around there. I don't know if I did Queensland. Tassie was sick. I think I came back to WA for something. Quite a few around New South Wales because I was based in Sydney. So yeah. But that was wild. That was real fun.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was cool,
very,
man.
Very, very interesting. Well, yeah. The thing that gets me is we've spoken about like let's say put it down to 3 of the TV shows: the kids, and then the E-League stuff, esports, and then the the doco. I've heard none of these in your stand-up. So I would assume there would be such interesting bits and pieces, but I haven't heard a single.
I'm a bit of it's a weird thing, hey? There was a comic in Sydney who said to me, and I think this is where my logic came from. Someone was chatting to me, an audience member or something after the gig, and something to do with the work I've done came out. And they were like, that's so weird, you don't talk about it. And this other comic was like, yeah, that's what I fucking love about Luke's act, is it exists in... it's void of context. The act is itself. It doesn't... Which I know it's a weird thing, but I think I've always kind of tried to... I just want to be funny in the room. Mm-hmm. And I think I've always kind of... I'm aware that I should mine it at some point for something, but I've always kind of... I don't know. I don't like ego in stand-up, and I think a lot of people are obsessed with their own stories and that whole thing of being the fucking central character in the movie or whatever it is, that thing, that sort of thing. I think that I've always just been more interested in, I don't know, doing interesting shit on stage. And it's, I'm very much aware, and this is something you were talking about earlier, that it's this weird thing of like, when you have a live, talking to you about all this stuff, I'm like, oh yeah, that is kind of interesting, isn't it? Like that I did all these things that other people haven't done, but I think...
Sorry, you're on the podcast.
I think that to me, it's just kind of, I don't know. Yeah, maybe I should talk about it.
100%. 100%. Like I
maybe
it's insane that you wouldn't give it a shot.
Yeah.
But in saying that, maybe the stories you haven't clicked in your mind to go like, this is so obscure that it's hilarious. It hasn't got to that point where maybe it was just so normal for you that you're like, yeah, this is what we do on a movie set. And it's like, no. There's not a person that comes and jerks you off. You know
what it is as well? It's that thing maybe that some other comics who I know who have done TV stuff and aren't doing it anymore, the act, the clearest instinct on it to how to build it into the act is it to become this thing of you going, don't you know who I am? I used to be someone. Fuck you. And I don't sort of... I feel like that's the clearest comedic bend, because otherwise there is definitely this gap in the audience of if you're up there telling people about all the shit you did in your career, but they don't know, there's a, you know...
But surely if you were saying like... you guys don't know this, but I used to be on a kids' TV show. I get it. You guys are adults. You don't fucking know who I am. And then go into like some crazy... But I don't know if you've got the crazy story too.
Well, I also definitely... I haven't... You know, here's an interesting thing coming back to Perth. And it's funny that I said here's an interesting thing, because it might not be, because clearly I don't fucking know what's interesting. This
is just a fucking intervention for me to like, do jokes about this shit.
Yeah, talk about what's happened. Since coming back to Perth, my stand-up has been more genuinely autobiographical than it has been in years.
Yeah, okay.
And the acts, as it was in Sydney before I came back, was entirely absurd and lived in this kind of liminal space of like, who the fuck is this guy? Like even the fact that I was wearing a skivvy and this ill-fitting suit and doing these weird
Are you doing that anymore?
No, I've dropped the skivvy for them. I'm giving it a break. I burnt out a bit in it, I think. Yeah, like I kind of, all the jokes were these sort of absurd little bits, almost kind of going meta on what comedy is in general. But, you know, being sort of very self-aware, odd, somewhere between clown and stand-up. And I think... Yeah, only since coming back to Perth, like you've seen the act recently, I'm doing bits about us talking about having kids and about being in a relationship and this stuff. I hadn't even talked about that genuinely for like 5-6 years of doing stand-up in Sydney.
But like thinking about what I've seen now, it's genuinely about you.
Yeah.
Life.
Yeah, so it is that, but that's very different to if you had seen me.
I can't imagine you in this. Like, I know you as what you're doing now, and that's very, very brief. I've seen you a fair few fucking times this year.
Yes, yeah.
But I can't imagine you as were you the, in every fucking duo there's...
Straight man. I was the straight man.
And you, on stage,
Yeah, I know.
Not that?
What's
the opposite one? The clown?
Yeah, the wacky guy. I don't know. It's an old school formula. We were fluid at times, to be fair. We were fluid, but I was definitely more straight guy than he was, which I think is probably where a lot of the tension of the duo was. That's not who I am. I had to sort of dull myself a bit to be the mirror. It is interesting. Look, I'm a bit of a chameleon. I think the thing that draws me to live, and in the same reason that I haven't, and maybe I'll get to talk about all this stuff on stage, but I think I moved on from it because I was like, it's done now. And I was like, and it's the same reason in some ways I haven't written a lot of autobiographical stand-up is I don't really I've got therapy and I write, to get stuff out, but I don't mind my past that much a lot because I'm more interested in what's happening now. Yeah. And I think that in terms of creativity, that's what I get excited by. The live, that's what has made me so obsessed with live for so long, is the presence of it.
Yeah, and so anything that day can be straight on stage.
And even very even like long stories. This year was the first time in many years I've written I've got like a 5-minute bit that I've done a few times about this weed dealer I had in Melbourne who
Isn't that like 9 minutes, that bit?
Maybe it's 9, yeah.
You set better than you, mate.
Yeah.
I saw it on the Beth.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's something like 7 or 9 minutes.
Yeah, it's long, yeah. So that bit about this weed dealer who got so paranoid that the thing where he was pretending to sell chairs, he ended up just selling chairs. That's I've really.
They're a really good bit though.
Yeah, it's good, but even that, I haven't told a story for so long because I was just so obsessed with doing short, punchy in the room bits. Yeah, and presence.
But you just showed let's say it's 5 minutes. It's clearly not. That
it's 9. Yeah.
You can hold the audience for a single story for that long. So obviously you're very good at captivating the audience.
Yeah.
So that in itself.
Yeah.
You should be like, oh yeah, shit, I could do it.
Yeah, I should.
I mean, you just don't. You don't want to do it yet, but
well, I don't know. But man, see, it's so interesting, isn't it? Because it's that sort of, and we were talking about a little bit off the pod before, but like it's so interesting understanding why you're doing it, like why you're doing stand up, why you're performing live, what's the end game, and I don't really know at this point. Like all I know is that I love being magic for a bit in a room, and for me the magic is what the fuck's going to happen next. Like what is he going to say, where's he going to move, what's going to happen. And stories, like even once you run them in, they get a rhythm, and then you hit that rhythm every time and you find your way to the rhythm, and maybe there's a looseness to it, but you're still executing. And I think to me even that becomes a bit boring, because I'm like, I know I can tell this story where I always say this thing in this way and it gets that laugh, but so what? Like I think that the thing that has made me become so interested in live above everything else is the possibility of anything occurring.
It's true.
But
I feel like I'll see it one. I'll see a fringe show. There will be fucking time on TV or something, or a book or a fucking. Well, you should write it down like some memoirs. Or something.
I should do something about.
If you've spoken about openly on stage about potentially having a child. It'd be cool to just be like, it's my fucking story.
Yeah, I should. It's that. But
Daddy's done some shit.
It's that whole thing, isn't it? I guess of finding your own. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's a really interesting question. It's a really interesting question why I'm uncomfortable with talking about it. And I don't know what it is. I do know that I feel like so much of comedy is you trying to get your act to the point where you would want to watch your act and think, this is fucking sick. And for me, the thing that I was so obsessed with when I got back to stand-up was people like the act for me who I was obsessed with for a long time, and I had to almost stop myself with the obsession so I didn't emulate him too much, was Rory Scovel, American comic. He's got a special on Netflix. It's called the concept of his special on Netflix is very funny. It's him pretending he's never done stand up, and it's him pretending he's doing it for the first time. And he used to do that bit. He's very dumb and silly and very conceptual, big dumb bits. And when I saw him in Sydney a few years ago, he would do this bit where he would hold the microphone by the lead, so the microphone was dangling down, so you couldn't hear him. And he would pretend he didn't understand that was wrong. I did it for like 7 minutes. So like he opened the set so only half the room could hear him. He has another great bit where he like pretends to he does a bit where the act is a jazz pianist who has got a job in a hotel foyer but lied on his resume, and the gag is he just can't play the piano, but he acts like he can. I think he's someone who has this kind of intense committed absurdity, and I think that because that's what I like, and that's what I like about what I do creatively, I haven't kind of found how that fits into this guy who's telling you his life about his career. Do you know what I mean? I think I get bored with people talking about their careers. Which it's so cool.
That's why you won't listen to this episode.
Well, it's nice that you asked me to do this, because I think I don't find it. Yeah, like it's that thing you were saying before, is that you live this existence, you don't think it's interesting because it just happens, and then you just keep moving. And so it's nice to remember that all these things are quite unique. Your
life is unique. Like if you put it in from studying at Whopper to shooting over to being a comedy duo, TV to your income as comedian, that's insane.
Yeah.
It's fucking bonkers.
Yeah, it is a bit, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
Go through. And this is the issue now, is because I know your partner is in that scene as well, that I assume that now you've done comedy for so long that both parties, you and your partner, you have this collective group of friends that are now, I assume, in this scene as well.
Yes, yeah.
And you think it's normal?
You get so detached from reality.
Yeah. Whereas now, like most people are fucking chippies and like retail and this and that, and this type of shit is so absurd. How many people have you spoken to who be like, you do stand-up comedy? I would kill myself if I had to do that. Yeah. Settle down, mate. It's it's talking into a microphone. Yeah. A little bitch. But like, it's that type of thing that your life and what I can get from what we've just spoken about for these 2 episodes is very far from normal. In a good way, in a great way. Like, you have done more than what most people...
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know.
And you're only 37.
Yeah,
you know
see, that's
like,
such a... Fuck, you're a great guy, Tate, and I appreciate your energy. No, you've got to...
the recording's not on.
I still feel fine, to be honest. If this was just us having a conversation in a room...
Just made you hold a microphone.
Yeah, I don't care. It's a good chat, and I appreciate it, because it's true, man. It's definitely a thing where... I don't know. There's a... so here's an interesting point in terms of all of that, which I think speaks at some level to the psychology of my relationship with talking about this stuff. We, as a duo, got as far as we got through this sense of kind of relentless positivity.
Okay.
And like, in the face of any difficulty, you just are absurdly... Everything's fine. No worries. We're going to do it. We're going to crush it. We're the best. Let's go. And... it really worked for us, and I think it really projected us a long way career-wise. But I think I had almost a rubber band effect to that, because when I got out of the duo, I was like, I feel like I've lost touch with critical thinking.
Okay.
And I have a negative, cynical streak as a person, and I think I had to deny that for a long time. And so I think I rubber banded so hard the other way that I've become this hugely analytical thinker who also has this kind of sense of I've never arrived. I've been like, but I'm not there yet. You keep working. You don't celebrate, mate. What are you celebrating?
Yeah, okay.
You haven't. How'd you go last night? What about tonight? Like, this sort of mentality.
I think that's a good mentality for stand-up.
It is a good mentality for stand-up, but it is dangerous at even the fact that, I feel like everything we've talked about now, that's the most I've probably ever told anyone about everything I've done. I never tell fucking anyone about all the shit I've done, because I just go, but it doesn't matter. It's over. What's happening now? Work harder, be better, and it's like a, I think that's what I was talking about when we were talking about like career stuff. It's that thing of, you kind of need to be aware of your worth and what you're doing, as well as keeping a work ethic. I've had a whole psychological... Fuck, man, we're going deep now. Is this good?
Yeah.
I've had a whole psychological shift even just occur just last year, 2021. I had a big blowout in the middle of the year on just mainly shrooms and weed, but just got real fucked, lost my mind a fair bit. And and I went into drug and alcohol rehab properly. Not like staying somewhere, just doing the sessions. And I've done it in the past, but I got this great old woman called Trish. She was so fucking good. And I really realized how much I have been doing negative self-talk for so long, which has led me to a whole lot of issues with addiction and all this kind of stuff. And
okay. Is that so? You've been, as you said, you were sober from...
Yeah, so I didn't drink from 18 because of liver stuff. I drank for a lot as a teenage growing up. Man, I don't even know where time-wise. I've started to go into some fucking hectic territory.
No, this is good.
But if you need to cut me off, just cut me off, bro. If I'm mid-sentence talking about being molested as a child, just jump in, bro. You know what I mean? I wasn't, by the way. I wasn't.
So, okay.
It's a example.
Yeah.
Of how
I'll cut it up anyway. I like, that's fine.
Sick, man. It will be funny though if someone was just like, and then you're like, anyway, that's all we've.
Did he touch? And that's all we have time for.
Exactly 40 minutes. You're done.
Yes.
So I drank a lot as a teenager and fucked up my liver, and then I was sober for a few years, and then I got into a bunch of other drugs in my early 20s, and then I got fucked for ages, and then I was sober for quite a while, and then when we were traveling in 2019 before all this happened, we got on it again. I didn't realize that's what traveling would be, but we had a sick time and just got super munted, and it was great. Yeah. My God. But then we came back, lockdowns, etc.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Yeah. I think a lot of people reignited old passions with various substances.
Yes.
So yeah, anyway, big blowout this year, and then what happened as a consequence of that was last year, did some digging to essentially try and work out why I have that relationship. And as a consequence with substances, you know, you look at the relationship you have with yourself, and then that also links in intrinsically to creativity and that kind of stuff. And I think there was very much a realizing how much negative talk I thought was serving me at a level career-wise, and maybe not even career-wise because I gave up on that notion, more just the notion of creative evolution, constantly being like, you got to be better, that's not enough, that's not enough, that's not enough. But then realized how much it was actually damaging me and stopping me from creating, because I was like, yeah, but it won't be good enough. You know, it's almost why I haven't done any recorded things, pods, anything since because I was like, if I just am live in a room every night, then no one can fucking, you know, then it's either good or it's bad and it's over.
Yeah.
Like at a control freak level, you're like, well, if I bomb to those people, I'll never fucking see them again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or I'm the king and that's great. But yeah. What was even the question?
I don't know. I can't remember how we actually got to this point. I know it was about not doing the bits, like talking about your life and stuff like that, which is kind of makes more sense now.
Mm-hmm. I did have to unpack some therapy sessions there to try and justify why. But
I'm not charging you, so it's cheaper than therapy.
Appreciate it, brother.
Yeah.
But I do think you have a point, and that there is definitely material in it, and I
think at least memoirs.
Maybe
just to. This is the issue. Like, I've done a lot of traveling. Been lucky enough to live other countries and do cool shit. And it only sometimes pops into my memory. I see something on TV, someone talks about something, blah, blah, blah. And I think this year is a goal for me. I'm going to write my shit down. A bit of just more for me. And I just want to talk about my travels and this and that, because I feel like you do forget it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a time, like, you know, when you say you're going to mine the essentially the gold out of those stories and past events and stuff, that you're like, fuck, now I can't remember. Like, you think it's in there, and then a year passes and you're like, ooh.
Oh, man.
Did I do that? It's like talking to you about this and you're like, I think it was this year that they did that. And I can't remember. I think it was... They got into contact with the Fringe Festival. How you originally got signed.
Yeah.
know? So it's like, oh shit.
Time
passes very quick.
Dude, it's going, and marijuana hasn't helped, that's for sure. In terms of the retention of anything. I think you're right. I think it's worth, because it is interesting, I suppose.
Well, I mean, just for like me listening and stuff like that. Yeah. Even if no one else listens to this, it's to learn that type of stuff, to be like, holy shit, that's very unique. Yeah. But obviously, I think it is very good of you to be like, but this is what I did in the past and what I want to achieve now. Especially comedy-wise, like, you see people do the same shit for 5, 6, 7 years, man, and you're like... And then I'll be honest, I chat about people's stuff that I've seen here. Yeah. And then someone will tell me, like, he's been doing that for 8 years. Yeah. Like,
well, you know, here's an interesting thing. Like, before I moved here, I was kind of the guy in Sydney who was doing the same shit for a long time, man. Like, I was... you've seen me probably... Because when AMC, I hit the same bits, generally. But you've probably seen me turn over more gear here than I have in a while. I think that is one very positive thing about Perth, is being uncomfortable again.
Yes.
In an environment has pushed me to write more and churn more. And I think I was the guy in Sydney for a while there who I kind of got roasted fairly regularly for trudging out the same fucking opener and, general bits. Like, people could almost say the bits along with me. I think they were quality bits, but...
I mean, that's another thing of those guys just being out every night, fucking seeing you. Yes. You could do the same as their shit. I've just seen it 4 times. But I do get what you mean. I haven't done it nowhere near as much as you, but it's pretty easy to fall in the trap of being like, well, I don't want this audience to not like me, and this is my personality, so here's my shit.
It's
tried and tested.
Yeah, it's definitely But I mean, that's when people really die inside, you know. That's when they're really up there. Just you know, you can just see it in their eyes, and it doesn't matter how much it's leveling, but it's an unpaid spot, and they've been doing it for 10 years. It's like, well, yeah, it's crushing, but who fucking cares, man? Like, why? For what? So you can go home and be like, it crushed again. Yeah, it's it's definitely where the whole thing of new and evolution is necessary, you know. But again, that's why I do think something I appreciate about Perth is by the way, I'm enjoying the chat so much. I keep kicking off on new thoughts. I'm happy for you at any point. I'm very aware of the form and how long we've taken. And if you're feeling natural ends and I keep restarting thoughts, fucking this is the bit. Anyway,
and this has been the end of
I was molested as a child.
No, it's all good. Well, best about Perth?
Oh, I was just going to say, I think that for me, I had a lot of my best mates in Sydney were comics who I really fucking respect what they do and have insane levels of craft. And I think in some ways it almost hamstrung me from trying shit because they're just such good writers. Ben Caution, Dan Rath, two brilliant comics, two brilliant writers, have such discipline for writing every day and brilliant joke writers. And I think they sort of got ahead. They moved past me in ability. And I kind of didn't want to take as many risks because I was a bit self-conscious.
Yep.
And because I don't feel that here. And not to shit on everyone here, but like I don't, you know, there's a few comics who I think are there, but like because I don't have that kind of fear of appearing hack or lame or whatever, I'm like, well, fuck it, I'll just do whatever.
Yeah, okay.
So it's been liberating in that sense, definitely, to not give a fuck about what people think.
Well, that's good.
Well,
I mean, if you're enjoying it.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
I want to talk about your fringe stuff that you got.
My man. I'm doing a fringe show. I don't know when this will drop, when the show will be. The show's on...
oh, yeah, fuck.
That's all right.
2 weeks, 4 weeks. No,
I won't. That's all good. So I did a fringe show.
Yeah, killed. 5 stars.
It went so well. No 2 stars for this guy. Yeah. 2 stars is so hurtful. You want either a 1 or a 4. You don't want anything in between. Like, even 3 is kind of like, ugh. But 2 is terrible, man. Because 1's exciting.
Yeah, like
to get a 1 star.
Let's go see that train wreck.
Yeah, and even to read it, like they're going to be so mean in a 1 that it's going to be so fun to read.
But it's so weird, the review system though.
Oh,
like you can get a person that does not like your comedy.
Oh, she was wearing a hat that you wear to like Splendor. She was like 19 and she wrote for real estate. It was in Adelaide.
See.
Yeah, she was, and there was only 10 people on the show, and I watched it the whole time, and she fucking hated it. And it was a weird show, to be fair. The show ended with me as a callback to a bit. I had a giant fitball that was supposed to be a moon with a big pussy on it that my fiance made for me.
Nice.
And I pretended to eat it out while this track played that was talking about eating out moon pussy, which was a callback to a joke. It was all in context. But it was still wildly upsetting because I was wearing the skivvy and I had like a comb over and, you know, it was all like very visceral. And if you're like, you know, a young woman who probably wants to see, you know, powerful other young women talking about issues.
Yes.
And then there's some weird old dude like, like I understand that it was not her content. So don't watch me at Fringe. Because you can't. It's over.
It's done. I apologise. That is the end of episode 2, I think. Thank you so much for letting me into your house.
Man, Tait, anytime, brother.
Okay, I'm staying here the night, so thank you
know,
so much.
My fiancée is staying at her sister's, so you'd have to share the bed. I feel uncomfortable about it. Sorry, bro.
See how quick you went away from any time?
Yeah.
Ladies and gents, thank you so much. Tune in next time. I don't know which guest it is. Thank you once again, Luke.
Thank you once again, Tait.
Cheers.